Hey everyone, and in this video we're going to be discussing cardiovascular health and how to prevent cardiovascular disease. So in the past, high LDL cholesterol and consuming a diet high in saturated fat has always been the blame for cardiovascular disease. And while there's some minor truth to that, I'm going to be breaking down the true root cause for cardiovascular disease and how we can prevent it. When it comes to the blood vessel or the endothelium, the ultimate thing we need to do is reduce damage, and there's two ways of controlling that. One is blood sugar regulation, and then the other one is inflammation/oxidation. Now, when we don't control these, this is how the whole LDL is bad for us started. When we don't control blood sugar and we don't control inflammation or oxidation, the blood vessel becomes damaged, and LDL is part of the process of plaque. It interacts with the immune system and the macrophages and creates what's called foam cells. And these foam cells is what creates atherosclerosis and the beginning stage of cardiovascular disease. But this will never happen if you control blood sugar regulation and inflammation. So if you have these things under control, we don't need to be worried about having high LDL levels, and we don't need to be worried about consuming a diet high in saturated fat. Because what we do know is healthy fats are vital and critical to our body with creating cell membranes, hormone production, the list does go on and on. So when it comes to statins and cholesterol medications, I'm not necessarily against them. I think some people probably should be on them, and those are the people that refuse to change their lifestyle and especially their nutrition. We've talked about it before, but I will always refer to the big three as refined oils, refined carbs, and refined sugars. If we can try our best to eliminate these three things, we'll control blood sugar, we'll control inflammation and oxidation, and this ultimately will help prevent cardiovascular disease. So basically just getting back to a whole foods diet. I do want to get into some blood markers and some lab tests that I think people should be doing annually. Some are general, some are a little bit more advanced, but this can give you a really good idea if you are at cardiovascular risk. The first is total cholesterol. So with our basic lipid panel, total cholesterol is included in that. And there's a wide range here. I typically like the range of 180 to 250. If you're below 180, this is also not a good thing. So don't think the lower the better. Cancer is highly related to very low cholesterol levels. Remember, cholesterol is part of our immune system. And then if you're above 250, you got to start thinking metabolic disease, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, poor lifestyle. And a cool study was showing that the range of 210 to 240 had the lowest all-cause mortality rate. So you have the least likelihood of dying from anything when you're in the range of 210 to 240. And that's pretty ironic because a lot of doctors are going to want to put you on a statin when you're above 200 to 220. HDL cholesterol, I like 55 to 80. Remember, below 55 could be a cardiovascular risk. One of the best ways to increase that, start exercising. Of course, proper nutrition will help that as well. And sometimes too high is not good as well. So when you're getting above 80, it's very linked to autoimmune disease and adrenal fatigue. LDL, this one's tricky. There's a little bit of a wider range that you can be in. It's completely healthy to be under 100, and you can even get up to about the 130 mark. Remember, if you're eating saturated fat, this is going to increase it anywhere from 10 to 15%. But if you have regulated blood sugar, regulated inflammation and oxidation, I wouldn't be too concerned about this. Now, if LDL is through the roof and it's really not making sense on why, start thinking chronic infection. Your LDL, again, is part of the immune system, and if you have an infection that's been going on chronically, it's trying to fight something most likely. Triglycerides, I usually like under 150, under 100 is even better. It's a good marker of your blood sugar. And then a ratio that is my favorite on a general lipid panel is your triglyceride to HDL ratio. I want this under 2. if you're under 1, you can almost guarantee that there's really no oxidation going on in the body. CRP, this is our inflammatory lab marker. We want this under 1. Homocysteine, we want from 4 to 7. This is one of the best precursors to predict cardiovascular disease. It's also good in predicting oxidative stress and blood pressure issues. Oxidized LDL is another great one. So we want this under 70. And this is in the Quest Cardio IQ test that I'm sending out to my patients now. It's pretty cool. They're actually able to tell you the levels of your oxidized LDL. MPO, or myeloperoxidase, we want this under 470. This is a breakdown of cells in the blood vessel. It's also a marker that helps determine plaque buildup. LP-PLA-A2, we want this under 123. This indicates vascular damage. And then we also have what's called LP-A that some of you have heard of. We want this under 75. Now, with LP-A, when this is high, it has a lot to do with seed oils. And seed oils are a little bit of a confusing topic. They actually lower LDL, but they increase oxidation and LP-A. So again, I'm really not too concerned with elevated LDL levels if blood sugar and inflammation/oxidation is under control. I value this LP-A sometimes more than the LDL number because it lets us know about the oxidative status of our body. And then our blood sugar numbers are always important. We want hemoglobin A1C under 5.7 or 5.6, glucose from 85 to 90, and insulin from 3 to 5. Now, if you're still unsure and you just want more answers, you can always get imaging done. And the gold standard for imaging is the coronary artery calcification score, so the CAC. And you can also get a CT coronary angiogram. Another one you can get is an ultrasound of the carotid artery as well. But these images will just be direct evidence if you have plaque formation or calcification building up. And what we do now know is for people that have, some people that have high LDL, for example, and they have a diet high in saturated fats, many people have a 0 score on the CAC and these images, which is just proof that just because you have high LDL and consuming a diet high in saturated fat, there's really no correlation to cardiovascular disease. It has everything to do about metabolic health, the foods we eat, controlling inflammation, controlling blood sugar regulation. One last thing too before I go, it's always good to get your blood pressure checked. So with blood pressure, just keep in mind that it will increase with age with the systolic number. So usually when you're under 30, I like it around 110, but as we age, it's natural for that number to go up. But when it comes to the diastolic number, we want that staying pretty close to 80 throughout our lifetime. And if that number starts to go up, again, it's a little telltale of cardiovascular disease and risk. You know, if we're not exercising, if we have plaque formation accumulating, the blood vessel is not able to, move as well, and this is going to increase our blood pressure. So I hope you guys enjoyed the information. If you have any questions, please reach out, and we'll see you on the next one.